You've been using Hey, Caitlin.
Yeah.
This is Dr. Whetstone. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. There we go. I was waiting for that screen. All right. Just wanted to make sure this was all working.
Yeah, I wanted to get on just a little bit early just to make sure that everything was all good.
All right, cool. Well, I'm happy to be here. It's awesome.
Yeah. I know you were talking to Kylie. She said she's not going to be here tonight.
Okay.
But yeah, so no worries. I feel like it's going to be a good meeting anyway.
You mean without Kylie?
Yeah. All of my officers.
I'm sure it'll be great.
Yeah. Okay, so it's a minute past the hour. I'll just go ahead and get our guest introduced real quick. Today we have Dr. Whetstone. He is tell me if this is right, Field Technical Services veterinarian at Verback.
Got it. That's right.
Good. Okay. Verback makes, guys probably seen it before on your heartworm prevention or flea prevention. If you have animals, and they do a lot of research on a lot of different things. So I'll go ahead and let him start talking.
All right. Well, thanks, Caitlin. And really excited to be with all of you. I'm a K-State graduate, born and raised in Kansas. And I remember, although it's been a long time ago, I don't remember a lot of it, but I do remember going to pre-vet club meetings and, just being excited about, that journey. The only thing that I did wrong when I was an undergrad is I went through it too quickly. I should have stayed longer. I had a good time. I enjoyed it a lot. So, hey, excited to be with all of you. So Dr. Whetstone, I grew up around Kansas City in a small town up there, Osawatomie, and then went to K-State, went to vet school, graduated in 93. So that's a long time ago, I know. But now working for Verback Animal Health. So let me, I want to share some pictures with you, some charts and graphs and stuff, right? I mean, any good presentation has to have a PowerPoint. Am I right? All right. I promise I won't PowerPoint you to death here tonight. So, Caitlin, tell me kind of what the time frame is here, because I can adapt here, and I definitely want to leave an opportunity for questions. Question and answer. So, kind of give me a ballpark on what kind of time we have.
Yeah. So usually we like our meetings to last around an hour.
Okay.
What a lot of our other speakers have done is like 45, 50
Sure.
minutes of actual talking, and then like 10, 15 minutes of like questions and answers and stuff like that.
Okay, great. It says host disabled participant screen sharing. Can you let me share my screen?
Yeah, I will fix that for you real quick. I shared mine.
Oh, wow. Well, let's check that out.
Right? Stop share. Let me go into this.
Yeah, so while we're working on that, so again, just a little bit more about me. So where I'm at now, field technical service veterinarian with Verback Animal Health. So you may be familiar with Verback, and we can talk more about that later. We were the makers of Sentinel Spectrum or Sentinel flavor tabs. So Caitlin mentioned heartworm prevention, actually comprehensive parasite control, flea control. Verback actually divested and sold Sentinel to Merck, or BI, I should say, not very long ago.
The screen sharing is fixed now.
Okay, great. And just a few months ago, so we don't have Sentinel anymore, but so now our heartworm prevention and parasite control product that we do have for dogs is Iverheart Max. So you might be familiar with that. So, okay. All right, so just forget about the election here for the next hour, if we can do that, right? Got it, crazy times for sure. So, and we're not going to talk politics tonight. All right, so I live in Southeast Kansas. We live on a cattle ranch where my wife grew up. My wife is also a veterinarian, and this is where she grew up on the ranch. She and I were classmates. I'm sure some of you may experience that as you go through vet school. It seems to be kind of common. And then we practiced. I went to the University of Georgia right out of school. Did an internship, a rotating internship in small animal medicine surgery. My wife Kate practiced down there for a year, and then we went to Iowa for 3 years in mixed animal practice, and then came back to South Central Kansas. Basically practiced in Wichita and Andover, which is the east side of Wichita. Since 97. We owned our own practice. We merged with another, moved in together, sold our practice to corporate, And then I left practice a few years ago, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So eventually I get to Verback. And again, we live in Southeast Kansas, live on the cattle ranch. We have two teenagers. I say that, I mean, my son's 20 now. You can see him down in there in the corner. He's a second year cadet at the Air Force Academy out in Colorado Springs. My daughter is a junior in high school. She's become addicted to showing sheep. So for any of you that have shown livestock in the past, you know what a problem that is for me. That's quite a horrible addiction that she has to that. And we're a dog family. We have a couple cats as well, but definitely love our Goldens. We're on our third and fourth Golden, and we have a little silky terrier that we adopted from an elderly lady that couldn't take care of him anymore. So, and actually this picture of me, this is Toast. So this is our younger Golden. He's a male. Our older Golden, this is Remy up here laying with the Silky. But this picture of me and Toast is actually in the car at K-State, just outside the hospital. I had just picked him up from the hospital. He had a GI foreign body and had some complications post-surgery, having that foreign body removed from his small intestine, and spent about 10 days up there at K-State in the intensive care. And honestly, the odds were against him. He, by all rights, probably shouldn't have made it, but he did, due to the great care up at K-State. And so this is the day I picked him up, and he came home, and he's doing great now. So, and the students up there took great care of him. So, what else can I tell you about me? Okay, so this is where we live. Again, a little bit about the history, and what I want to, really just share with you tonight. I think what you'll find out. I mean, one, Dr. Whetstone's done a lot of different things, and I made the same presentation to the careers class, actually, of first year students at the vet school just about a month ago. And I was telling my wife that, Dr. Roush had invited me to speak to that class, and he wanted me to talk about my career because I've done a lot of different things. And she said, gosh, you should be an expert in that because you have done a lot of different things. So sometimes she's accused me of, not being able to stick to one thing for a long time. But anyways, so I've done a lot of things. And I think, I hope the message you get from that, the idea that you get from that is that with your veterinary degree, you can do a lot of things. There's just so much that can be done with a veterinary degree. It's such a powerful education. I'm telling you, the education y'all are going to get is exponentially greater than what I got. And I feel great about the education I got. But I mean, what is going on today in veterinary education is just absolutely lights out, in my opinion. And I base that on, one, through my Verback work, I get to work with the veterinary schools. I have 5 different schools in my region, Kansas State being one of them. So I get to meet a lot of the instructors. I get to meet with the students, but I also get to see those new graduates that are coming out of veterinary schools today, including K-State, and their skills and knowledge and ability to problem solve is really fantastic. So I'm excited for you guys, honestly. I'll tell you that really you're getting into veterinary medicine at a great time for lots of different reasons. I think veterinary education is great. We're also going to look at some income numbers. I want to show you that because I want you to feel good about that. Certainly, earning power isn't often the main reason why people go to vet school. It wasn't for me. But most people do want to earn a living, and some want to raise a family. Money is that currency that we need, and so if you're going to work hard, you certainly want to be compensated for that. And again, you're entering the profession at a great time, and I don't see it really changing. Certainly our economy will go through ups and downs, but right now things are super strong. Okay, so. Again, to back up and just kind of describe for you what I've done, graduated from vet school in '93. I thought I might want to be a specialist, so I did an internship. I was, honestly, I went to vet school to be a large animal veterinarian. I had grown up on a farm. I knew farming wasn't going to be really a viable option for me, but I enjoyed agriculture for sure, and I still do. I mean, I'm back on a cattle ranch, and I absolutely enjoy that. But I knew it wasn't a viable option economically, so I thought being a veterinarian would be the next best way for me to be involved in agriculture. So I went to be a large animal veterinarian, and I just got really turned on by small animal medicine and surgery. I had a couple mentors at the vet school that really encouraged me, and they definitely encouraged me to go on and do an internship because internships then lead to residencies, which is where you would need to go to become a specialist. So I did that, but then I found out that's not really at that time the career course that I wanted to take, and I certainly don't regret that. So I did my internship. My wife and I went to Iowa to a mixed animal practice in South Central Iowa for 3 years and loved it there. And the only reason we left, we moved back home. We bought a practice from a retiring veterinarian in Wichita, Kansas, just because we were just too far from home, and we wanted to get back closer to our parents, and that's uh, definitely turned out to be a good decision. As our parents, both my parents, her parents, have become elderly, we're back home to help care for them. Um, but we absolutely loved it in Iowa. But we left there after 3 years, moved to Wichita, bought a practice. So we were now practice owners, and quickly, we bought a kind of an old practice that really wasn't growing, had lots of potential. We grew it very quickly, needed to build a new building or do something different. And so what we did is we merged then with another practice out in Andover. So Andover's on the east side of Wichita. We merged with them and basically closed down our building and moved in with them. And that was our way of doing a couple things. One is it got us into because this veterinarian had just built that building about 3 or 4 years prior to us merging. So now we have this big building that can accommodate everything we're going to bring to it. It's state of the art, and we gain a business partner, meaning someone we can share the management with, someone we can share the risk with. So we did that, so that was in 2000, and then in 2013 is when I left practice. But in the meantime, 2007, we sold our practice. So our business partner and us sold the practice to a corporation. So you're probably aware that large corporations now own a fairly large part of the number of veterinary clinics. Not the majority, but a lot of them. That was a way of getting my money back out of the practice, and then gave me some freedom to move. Meaning, and I'm not going to get into the specifics, but I basically wanted out of that practice. So I sold in '07. I signed a 5-year contract to stay on till 2012. And then in 2013, I finally left. And where did I go? So this is where the story gets weird. I left and went to the largest, the largest utility provider in the state of Kansas. What was Westar Energy? Some of you may uh, know them if you've been going to school in Manhattan for a while. Even if you're from out of state, you're familiar with Westar. It's now called Evergy. I had a good friend that I'd met who worked there, and he thought I had a skill set that would work well in their commercial and industrial customer service department, where I would have a set of 45 or 50 commercial and industrial accounts that I would basically be the liaison to, the person that would kind of be the conduit between the utility company and that corporation, that company. And so I did that. It was a way for me to get out of that practice. And honestly, I didn't know if I was going to go back. So I was kind of at a low point professionally from a mental standpoint. This gave me an opportunity to get away, try something different. But 3 years later, and I was really enjoying that job. I was doing well at it, liked who I was working with. But I got a call from a veterinarian, said, "Are you ready to get back into practice?" And I thought, after 3 years, if I'm ever going to do it, if I'm ever going to go back to practice, I better go now. I thought the longer that I was out, maybe the more difficult it would be. And so I did. So I went back to small animal practice. And then after a couple years of being back in practice, this opportunity with Verbac came along. And so I wasn't really out there looking for it at the time. I just, it came along, And I've always been a big Verbac user in practice, and so it was just an easy jump for me to make. Meaning, I could go to work for somebody selling, and that's what I do. I mean, I'm a technical service veterinarian, so I handle the discussions with veterinarians about the technical aspects of our portfolio of products. But my job is to help our territory sales managers, the sales reps, sell product to the clinic. So I had always believed in Verbac products, so it wasn't hard for me to go out there and talk to our customers, to other veterinarians, about Verbac products, and then come home at night and lay my head down and go to sleep. So I made that jump, and I just actually celebrated about 2 weeks ago my 2-year anniversary with Verbac. So as you've discovered, except for working for the corporation, the electric utility, this is my first foray into the veterinary industry, veterinary corporate world. So super enjoyed it. And we can talk a little bit more later about what I do at Verbac. So I want to just show you some economic data real quick. The AVMA, American Veterinary Medical Association, great resource for some of this, and so they survey veterinarians and veterinary schools, because some of this data comes from the schools as well when it comes to tuition and debt and that kind of thing. So they're always surveying and publishing these reports. So these were the most current ones. I'm not as of a month ago. I did hear last night that maybe there's maybe a 2019 report, and I think some of the data I'm going to show you that I got through the vet school comes from that. So, but for the most part, this is the most contemporary data available. And once you graduate, and I absolutely would encourage you to become a member of the American Veterinary Medical Association. Then this data is available to you all the time. Okay, so veterinary graduates receiving offers for jobs or advanced education. So the black line is received offers, and the green line is received no offers. So you can see out here at 2018, we're about 95%. And actually, again, I'm going to show you some data specific to K-State, and you can see that definitely there was a dip. It bottomed out around 2012, where only about 60% of graduates were receiving offers, right? So that could be a little discouraging. But again, the time frame you're in, and I know you all are probably looking at, you're graduating 5, 6, 7, 8 years from now. I certainly don't see this changing. The demand for veterinarians is really, really great. And veterinary schools, even though there's some new upstart veterinary schools, they're really struggling to meet the supply that is needed. So that's good. I mean, if you're a veterinarian, you've got choices for sure. This is the mean starting salaries of new veterinary graduates. So the green line at the top is private practice, which is going to be the largest part of veterinary graduates. The line right below that is public practice. So that's what I do at Verbac would be considered public practice. And then the next line down, the black line, is the average of all of these. You can see internships, residencies, advanced education is much lower, and that's pretty typical regardless of what profession you're going to be in. So definitely private practice. You can see that line's turned upward at a little bit steeper increase. And again, I think that's largely related to supply and demand, and that's good because a lot of students are going to have a fair amount of debt coming out of school, and so you want to have a salary that's going to allow you to service that debt, to take care of that debt, but yet not live in poverty as well. And that's the case today. I mean, the case today is you're going to be able to earn a salary and be able to service your debt and not have to live in poverty, and that's a good thing, right? You guys didn't go to vet school or you're not going to go to vet school. That's not your intent, right? To go to vet school and then live in poverty. Okay. So now we break these starting salaries down by the different types of private practice. That top line is companion animal exclusive. So that's where the highest salaries are, but not too far behind that is companion animal predominant and food animal exclusive. They're not too far. So all of those are, in the 80 to, looks like $86,000, $87,000. Again, this is 2018. So those salaries are even going to be higher today. And then, I wanted to show you this because this kind of contrasts associate veterinarians to ownership, to practice owners. So some of you will, have no interest in being an owner, or maybe think you have no interest in practice ownership, and maybe at some point you decide you do. Others of you, very well may know now that that's definitely a course you want to take. So certainly there's more income potential as an owner. And that should make sense. I mean, anytime, it doesn't matter what kind of business you're owning, the owners are going to make, if it's set up right, the owners are going to make the most money, right? But again, you can see the different types of practice here. Again, those salaries kind of went down in that 2010, 2012, 2014. And I think that's the lag behind the recession that occurred in 08, 09, 2010. But again, you can see that salaries are coming back up in 2016. And again, this is the most contemporary data that AVMA is able to provide. When you flip over here to the right-hand side and look at practice owners, again, practice owner income really didn't go down even with the recession, and you can see companion animal continues to rise. Those two tables, just to point out, they're not on the same scale, right? So, companion animal practice 2016, a little over 160,000, and companion animal exclusive associate in 2016 was about 90,000. And then when we look at public practice, again, this would be what I'm doing. So industry, commercial organizations, which Verbac would be in that category. So again, these are starting salaries. You can see that industry and commercial organizations are going to be the highest in that 2014 to 2018 range. You can see it's about 86, 87,000, and then you can see the other parts of public practice there as well. And one thing I would just point out, I mean, it's certainly not all about money, right? But I share all of this with you just to, hopefully it's encouraging to you. Again, you all are spending a lot of money to go to school, and you want to be able to take care of that. So, but what I would, there's trade-offs, right? I mean, there's things that are great about private practice, and there's things that are great about industry and commercial organizations or other parts of public practice. So, and there's great parts about being an associate veterinarian, and then there's great parts about being a practice owner. So there's definitely, there's give and take, there's trade-offs. Whenever you're talking about these different sectors of the industry, and it's not all just, salary. So sometimes you may say, gosh, yeah, I could be a practice owner and make a lot more money, but, how does that impact, if I want to raise a family, how does that impact me raising a family? Or if I want to, be able to travel more, or do have some other interests that I want to have time away from the clinic where I can do that. Maybe practice ownership doesn't allow that. And an associate position would be, something that would facilitate that. So you have to consider all those factors. Now, I sit on the Pet Tribute Board at the College of Veterinary Medicine there at K-State. And we actually just had a virtual meeting last night, a board meeting, to just kind of review our finances and talk about all the good that's going on, which there is so much good going on at the college. And so Dr. Rush, the dean, actually shared some data with us, and I asked her if I told her, I said, I'm going to be speaking to the Vet Club tomorrow night. Would it be okay if I shared this same information with them? And she said absolutely, and so she sent that to me. So this is just fresh from last night. So first thing here is tuition. The tuition at K-State is $98,000. The U.S. average, well, we don't have the U.S. average tuition. So tuition at K-State right now is $98,000. And I don't know if you all know this, but Kansas State Veterinary College hasn't raised tuition for 4 years. So the students that are going to graduate this year have had no increase in tuition since they started. So that's a good thing. And the college did that because of the educational debt, trying to bring down the debt that K-State graduates were leaving with. And so you can see here, Dr. Rush has shown us the 2019 debt so these are graduates in 2019, had an average debt of $128,000, and in 2020 it actually was about $6,000 less. So debt has come down. They've done some other things to try to help reduce that, and you can see how it compares to the average debt across the U.S. for veterinary school graduates. So I think K-State's doing a good job there. And here you can see then starting salaries. And these now are just K-State graduates. So you can see again the class of 2019 salaries. You can see class of 2020. So just in, you look at large animal, and again, you can compare it to the U.S. average over on the right. But large animal up almost $10,000 just in a year. Mixed practice, 8,000. Look at small animal practice, almost $20,000 difference. And again, that is just, I'm telling you, as I travel around talking to veterinarians and veterinary clinics, everybody's looking for veterinarians. They're so busy. They don't have enough veterinarians on staff to really, take care of their caseload. And so everybody's looking. And so that's helping drive up the salaries. And so that's a good thing. I mean, that's a good thing for all of you. And again, I don't see that situation changing anytime soon. So, and then she shared with us the board pass rate. So you'll take national boards when you graduate to become licensed as a veterinarian. K-State had 99%, and this was for this latest graduating class, 99% pass rate on boards, and then also an employment rate of 99%. And I didn't ask her, but my guess is that that 1% just for whatever reason decided not to go into decided not to take a job, because there's there's another slide coming up here. I'm going to skip ahead. Look at this clinician's brief. This is one of our industry's publications. 12 jobs for every veterinarian out there, right? So anybody who wants to work can work. So my guess is that 1%, and that happens. I mean, it'll happen in your class. I had classmates that graduated from vet school and haven't worked a day in their life as far as using their veterinary degree, which sounds odd, doesn't it? But it happens, and I've definitely heard others do the same. So so putting debt and income together and say so this is the mean debt to income ratio. So debt has come down at K-State. Salaries have gone up. So you'll see K-State right below this green bar. The green bar is the national average. So the national average for the debt to income ratio is 1.8, and K-State's right there. And actually, K-State was quite a bit higher on this list. I mean, it was a big concern, I know, at Kansas State about the debt to income ratio. So debt was climbing high, salaries weren't keeping up with keeping pace, and so this debt to income ratio is going up. Well, it's come down through some intentional work, and you can see. I mean, actually, Auburn, Penn, Florida, Illinois, Mississippi State, they're all in that 1.8. So I mean, these are all just in alphabetical order. Well, I guess they're not. Auburn comes before Kansas State, so K-State could certainly be down here. So I think that's good news for you guys as well. And I think that number will keep coming down. I know through scholarships and putting a freeze on tuition, I think that's going to continue to help hold down the debt for you guys as well. Okay, we talked about this. The AVMA reports that there's 2.5 job offers per graduate. Again, clinician's brief says there's 12 open jobs for veterinarian. If you can make yourself stand out, don't take that for granted. Like I can get a job anywhere. I mean, you definitely have to do your part. But you make yourself stand out, you're willing to go in there and go to work, you'll have your choice of jobs, which means not only do you have your choice of where you work, which is super important when it comes to being a young veterinarian and being mentored. You want to work in the right practice. And if you end up in the wrong practice, change practices. Absolutely, change practices, okay? If it ends up not being the practice you thought it was, change practices. But what it also means when there's 12 jobs for every veterinarian is you're going to get a choice to live where you want to live too. I mean, for the most part, you may get the opportunity to live somewhere that you always wanted to live. All right. That said, I would, as a new graduate, I would value the practice over location. You can always get to where you want to go later. but that early mentoring, I think, is so important. Okay. And then you can see here, this is a little more contemporary data on, number of jobs compared to number of graduates. And so you can see at one time that green line, then, new job seekers was above the available jobs. And so people weren't getting employed. Well, now you can see there's this huge gap, right? So we've got less than 500 new job seekers that aren't employed. And we've got, almost 3,000 jobs out there. So lots of jobs for you. And then I want to show you this. So this is the mean professional income by practice type. And again, this goes back to 2017. So I certainly think in 2020, these numbers are going to be a little more elevated. But just to give you some idea about industry. So here's industry over here and how it compares to, the other practices. I mean, basically being in private practice. So certainly industry, being a consultant, or a research contractor, these are going to be at the top of the mean professional income scale when it comes to, sectors that you can be in as a veterinarian. And then I like to show this, and I'm certainly stars. Oh, it's a planet. So I like to show this because there was a time when men who wanted to go to veterinary school, and I see that there's some men on the Zoom tonight. It was not necessarily a great financial decision for them to go to vet school. Now, again, finances don't always drive everything, but I do think, and there's data out there to show this, that because of this situation with the net present value of a veterinary degree being in the negative, that kept some men from going to vet school. Now, the situation is certainly went down for women as well, but it stayed positive. And so what is the net present value? Well, that number is, it is a comparison between when you graduate with an undergraduate degree, if you left with an undergraduate degree, left college and went into the workforce, and then, what is your, lifetime earning power compared to if you go to vet school, and what is your lifetime earning power? And then that's all, what's also factored into that is the cost of getting that veterinary degree, right? So what's the additional cost and debt that you incur between that undergraduate degree and the veterinary degree, right? So that made the net present value because men were, they could go and, whatever it was. I mean, they could earn something greater. And when you compared that to the debt they would incur, then it made that really negative. Well, now it's back in the positive. And again, this is 2018 is the most current we have. I think based on the fact that debt has held steady or actually gone down, plus we know salaries are going up, both female and male. I mean, this number continues to go up. So that's, again, great. I mean, that just says if you're just solely going to base going to vet school on a financial decision about what your lifetime earning power is, it's a great decision regardless of whether you're a man or a woman. Here's how the profession breaks down. Again, if you're not sure about, because we've talked about, salaries in companion animal industry and all that. Well, again, 60% of veterinarians are in companion animal practice. And then when you look at industry and commercial, it's this 4%, slice here. So that's the small slice that I'm in now. All right, so a little bit more about what I do at Verbac, and then I'm going to stop and open it up for questions. So as a technical service veterinarian, my job, my role is to be available to the territory sales managers to answer technical questions, basically off-label. So if a product is labeled for, let's just take, we have an ear medication called Exotic. It's labeled for use in dogs. If a veterinarian says, can I use it in cats? By law, the FDA does not permit a territory sales manager, a sales rep, to answer that question because it's off label. And so I would answer that question. They would put me in touch with the veterinarian. Okay, so that's a real simplified answer for what I do when it comes to that technical part. Um, I travel a lot, not during COVID times, but typically I would travel a lot working with those territory sales managers, making calls with them to the various veterinary practices, uh, giving presentations at lunchtime or in the evening to big dinner meetings where we talk about various disease states and our product solutions for those disease states. Um, so that's kind of the travel and working with the territory sales managers, working with the veterinarians. Certainly during COVID times, all those presentations have been virtual. So I've done tons of virtual webinars, and we do these what are called webinets, which are just short 15-minute presentations as well. But in addition to that, um, I'm involved in not not new product development, but new product launching, putting together these presentations, reviewing studies, and drawing out that information that we want to present to veterinarians, helping launch new products. We're getting ready to launch a new product here in a couple months. It's really exciting. I can't tell you about it. We're waiting on final FDA approval, which should come in the next couple weeks. But it's a cancer drug, and it's going to be really, really exciting. And if you do go to vet school, you're going to find out about it. It's going to be really, really cool. So I'm involved in that. I'm involved in that launch and putting together that information. We'll be involved in disseminating that information out to veterinarians as well. So we do a lot of training. When I say we do a lot of training, I do a lot of training of the territory sales managers. So teaching them about the products, teaching them about how they should be used, how veterinarians would use those products in practice, so that they can go in and talk, more intelligently about them. So, at Verbac, what I love about Verbac, and just a little bit of history, Verbac's a French-owned company. We're not the largest animal health company in the industry. I think we're number 6 now. But we are an animal health company only. And we were founded by Dr. Dick 53 years ago. He's a French veterinarian. He has since passed away. But French-owned company that is worldwide. In the U.S., we're mostly companion animal, but worldwide, well, we're all companion animal, I should say. But worldwide, Verbac's involved in food animal medicine, equine medicine, aquatic medicine. And so, just a really broad portfolio that way. Next year, 2021, Verbac will actually enter into the food animal market here in the United States. What Verbac doesn't have is they don't have a human pharma, big pharma, mother to them. So a lot of these companies have a human pharma side that really dwarfs the animal health side and really controls what they do. Well, we don't have that. We're totally focused on animals. And that I really love that part. And Verbac's a great company when it comes to entrepreneurship. They want us to be entrepreneurial. Which means that even within a corporation, they give us the freedom and the power to develop ideas, test new things, try new methods. And that's what I really love. Most veterinarians have very much an entrepreneurial spirit to them. And so to go to work for a corporation for many can be a bit, confining. You lose that ability. Well, at Verbac, we don't. And I've had the opportunity to try lots of new things, suggest ideas, present proposals of how we might do something different. And, are they all accepted? No, but they're definitely considered, and some of them are, and sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. So that's one of the things I really love about Verbac for sure. Okay. I tell you what, I want to stop there, Caitlin. I hope there's a question, because there's probably a piece of information, maybe something somebody's wondering that I haven't said, that I can help understand. So fire away.
Yeah, actually, before we get into questions, it took me a minute just because it's of this virtual view. But I have actually met Dr. Whetstone in person before. He actually has come to my clinic that I work at in Wichita, and done. Yes. I work at Pet Haven Veterinary Clinic.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yep, it took me a minute, and I was like, I know where this man is from. But yeah.
Well, good. That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah, it is. So I do kind of know I've seen what Dr. Whetstone has done. But yeah, I just wanted to say that before we got into the
Oh,
question.
that's cool. Yeah. Well, thank you for telling me that. That's great.
Yeah.
So were you there when I presented on, I know I presented at Pet Haven once. So were you there that day?
The one, it was actually last year. It was when you presented on EpiPro and Epitix.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Awesome. That was a fantastic presentation, was it not?
It was great. It was fantastic. Loved when you compared it to competing flea and tick medication.
Yeah, well, I have a biased view about ticks, but that's all right. So what questions you guys have? Somebody's got to be wondering something.
So would you group like shelter medicine in with the companion animals on like the charts where it showed the percent of like who went to each career?
I think that would be in public, but let me pull that back up. Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure where they would put that. I think that's I mean, typically shelter medicine isn't combined with private practices because a lot of them are, 501c3s, nonprofits technically, and certainly, very much their own, type of practice. So I'm not really sure. I mean, I think they probably fit in here either in this industry commercial or up here in this other, um, for sure. I mean, definitely, it's not the largest number of veterinarians, but I mean, is that something that you're interested in, shelter medicine?
Possibly, yeah. I was
Yeah.
just curious. That was something I was looking at when I was looking at the chart and I didn't see
Yeah.
it on there.
Yeah. And that's a good question. I haven't considered that before. So, as far as where it fits in this chart, but I think it's probably in that industry commercial
Okay.
section. But yeah, and K State has a great, really, I mean, I like to brag on K State. There's lots of good vet schools out there, but you'll get a great education at K State, and K State has a great shelter medicine program. And I would encourage you. I mean, if you're going into companion animal medicine, whether you want to do shelter medicine or not, I would strongly encourage you to go through the shelter medicine rotation because you'll get to do a ton of surgery relative to a student who doesn't do the shelter medicine. So, junior surgery lab, you'll get to do, I think, 2 surgeries.
Yeah, that
Um,
one I've heard a lot of good things about.
yeah. So you just can really, I mean, it's, when I graduated from vet school, I was lucky. I was able to do a couple externships where the veterinarians let me do surgery in their practice. I will tell you, as a practice owner, I could never do that. I could never let a senior student, and that's terrible for me to say, but it's your reputation, it's your clients, it's your patients. I don't know why these veterinarians believed I could do it. I think I came with a recommendation. Anyways, I was super lucky. I think I graduated from vet school having done if I remember right, 40 or 50 surgeries, most of them spays and neuters. Okay. And it really, I mean, just learning how to handle tissue and handle the instruments and, not be traumatic and all that. That's what you learn in surgery. Once you learn that, you can do anything. Um, so that's why spays and neuters are really good. I mean, because obviously that's the most common surgery. So you can get lots of those under your belt. Um, Most of my classmates, I mean, my wife graduated, I think, having done 2. I think, well, she'd probably done 4. She'd probably done 2 in junior surgery lab, and she'd probably done 1 or 2 spays in our surgery rotation, and that was it. Okay. So when you can go through the shelter medicine program and, get, I think some students graduate having done somewhere between 50 and 100 surgeries. by the time they graduate. That's tremendous experience, regardless of whether you're going to end up in shelter medicine or not.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so I have 20 more slides if you don't ask questions, so it's just a threat. That's a joke, Caitlin. I know y'all don't know me.
I was like, I get it, but
Yeah, no, I like to have fun. I'm a little sarcastic. Okay, so keep asking questions. I mean, if you have a question, but let me just show you. I want to just a couple more things. One, I would encourage you this. So I'm 53 years old, and it took me a long time to figure this out. And if you all can figure this out sooner than I did, it will reward you many times over. And that is, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to take risk. Don't be afraid to try something new, something different. And overall, I mean, don't fail your classes, okay? But don't be afraid to fail, right? Because it's that willingness to do something different, try something different, take some risk, even if you fail. I mean, that is where your growth comes from. That's where your moving up, moving forward comes from, as long as you treat it the right way, meaning as long as you learn from that. And it took me a long time. I think I was too conservative when I was a young adult. Honestly, in practice, it took me years, and it took a friend. I thought I was stuck, and I didn't enjoy my practice anymore. I didn't enjoy my business partner. I mean, enjoy is not even the right word. It was pretty miserable. Okay. That's why I wanted to leave practice. But I thought I was stuck. I saw no way out. I thought, this is it. This is all I have. This is the rest of my life. And it took a friend saying, hey, you have skills to do other things. And I would say that to all of you. You all are smart, you're intelligent. You're going to know way more than just doing medicine and surgery. Okay. And so you have skills that transfer to other things. I'm not telling you to leave the industry. I'm just saying there's so many things you can do even within veterinary medicine. Don't ever think you can't. Okay. And don't be afraid to be uncomfortable, try something new. Okay. And that's why I love this quote that Abe Lincoln is attributed to Abe Lincoln. And that is, the best way for you to predict your future is to create it, right? I mean, take control of your future and create that future that you want. Sometimes maybe means taking some risk, trying something new, stepping outside your comfort zone. And it probably means failing a few times, but the reward on the other side of that, I can tell you, I mean, at the age I'm at now, and once I realized that, I mean, the fact that I left practice and went to the electric utility seemed absolutely crazy at the time. And people were absolutely scratching their head and saying, what in the hell are you doing? It was absolutely the best move I ever made. I learned a lot about the corporate world that transferred over to my VRBAC job. So working for a corporation with VRBAC wasn't my first time. So I think working at Weststar really helped me understand the good and the bad of the corporate world. So I came into VRBAC not totally naive to what I was getting into working for a corporation. And then it also just helped me refresh and gain a lot of confidence that I can do whatever I set my mind to, which in my early 20s, I absolutely believed that, but I had lost that belief over the years. And so if you can have a different mindset earlier on, and my guess is many of you do, but some of you may not, the sooner you can have that mindset about not being afraid to fail, embracing failure, I promise you it'll serve you well. The other thing that I want to, I like this, and I think it's not uncommon, and it certainly was the case with me. You always, many of you kind of know what you want. and as you get into vet school, you're going to say, this is where I want to be. Maybe I want to be a practice owner. Maybe I want to be, board certified, or I want to have this great, I want to be a practice owner with 10 associates and build this, great practice that people flock to in the metro area that I set up camp. Well, you don't go from graduation day to that, right? I mean, there's this period of time in between, and I know that. I mean, I've talked to young people that they're just like, I want that, and I want you to hire me to do that. And um, the reality is, you have to work into that, right? I mean, you have to gain experience. And so, uh, what's the best way to get to where you want to be, right? I mean, even if what you're doing today sucks, and even if what you're doing today is not what you want to be doing, but it is the way to get to where you want to be, what's the best way to get there? Is just do what you're doing, do what sucks, just do it really well, right? I mean, that's how you get to where you want to be. So it takes some patience. I think that's why they call it practice. I know that's cliche, so forgive me for that. But there is some experience that is necessary. I couldn't be the technical service veterinarian that I am today. I mean, I think I bring a lot of value to Verbac, and I think I bring a lot of value to our customers because I practiced for 22 years. I know what they did every day. I know what sucked about practice. I know what was really awesome about practice. I understood, when I walk into a practice and, we're supposed to start a lunchtime presentation at noon, and they're not ready because they had an appointment run long, or an emergency came in, or maybe the surgery schedule didn't go quite as planned today. Do I get upset? No, because I lived that life every day for 22 years, right? So again, all I'm just trying to say is the best way for you to get where you want to be is do your best doing what you're doing right now. Okay. So again, you can't build a reputation on what you're going to do. You build a reputation on what you do today. All right, Caitlin, that's it.
Okay.
I got a little preachy there.
Hey, some of us need that boost every once in a while.
Well, hey, look, I honestly, and I bring that to you all with love. I love helping people. If I can help one veterinary student,
Yeah.
then it's all worth it. If I can help more than that, then that's all gravy. So, here's my cell number, my Verbac cell number, and here's my Verbac email address. Don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm happy to help you. Hopefully, I will see you all, as we get past this COVID time, and if you're in vet school at K-State, then maybe I'll see you up there as I come in and interact with the clinicians and the students up there as well.
Oh, Dr. Whetstone, before we leave, I'm sure a couple of people are going to want to know, are there any specific, if you can say off the top of your head, internships, anything like that they can kind of delve into more if they need some internship hours or things like that?
I mean, specific to industry,
either undergrad or even as once they get into veterinary school, things that they can kind of latch on to Verbac with.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. So with Verbac, well, so I would say, yeah, Verbac, unfortunately, we don't have any type of an internship program, but, that's an interesting thought. So I could always use help. So if anybody's interested when you get into vet school or even undergraduate, let me know. Reach out to me. I'm serious. I mean, I don't, I can't make any promises, but that would be kind of an interesting thought to be able to work with somebody, have them, even potentially shadow me, work with me directly in my job, but also, be able to be a part of some special projects that we're working on that I think could add some valuable experience too. So, I did get this question in the careers class, not what you asked, Caitlin, but just, what is it you have to do to, become an industry veterinarian? And I don't think there's any one clear path. And honestly, I've just told you that I think what makes me valuable to Verbac is my practice career. And so I think going right into industry, I mean, if you were going to take my job right out of vet school, I just don't know that that veterinarian has enough experience to really bring great value to that job. Now, there are some industry and, jobs, I mean, especially if you're going into the research side, right? I mean, you know, that's fine because you've got that expertise and you're going into research. But when I'm working with practicing veterinarians and their staff every day, and if I don't know how a practice works because I've never practiced myself, I just don't know what value you bring. So my encouraging words to them were, the best thing you can do is, go out and practice for a while, go out and practice for a few years, get that kind of experience under your belt. And then just keep your ears open. These opportunities don't necessarily come along all the time. But back to, how do you get what you want? I mean, if industry is where you want to end up, again, I've told you, I think you ought to go into practice for a while, but just, even if practice isn't totally your cup of tea, just do it really well. and then that'll transition into something in industry. So, unfortunately, Verbac doesn't have any type of a internship program, but if anybody's, interested, reach out to me. I can't make any promises, but we could certainly explore something.
Okay. If there aren't any last minute questions, I just
I'm in no hurry. So if there's questions, I can stay, but if y'all need to get to your studies, I don't want to hold you up.
When you moved from your private practice to the Westar, was that more because you didn't like the management part of being in a vet clinic? Or was it just the practicing in general?
So I want to be careful here because I don't know who all is on here. Okay. Because it's pretty personal. But I was in a business relationship that had soured, and look, that's not unique to veterinary medicine, right? I mean, business partners sometimes don't get along. We just had really diverged in how we thought the practice should go and how it should be managed and how employees should be treated. And I didn't see that ever getting fixed. At the time, I wasn't strong enough to really, stand up and stand up for myself and stand up for others that I thought weren't being treated right. And so the only way I knew how to get away from that was to get away from it, or the only way I knew how to fix it was to get away from it. So I would say the management part, I would say I didn't like it only because it was just a constant struggle between myself and our business partner. And when I say business partner, we had sold the practice at the time to the corporation, but we still were responsible for the management, the day-to-day management, and we just didn't see eye to eye on that at all. And so that was the part of the management I didn't. If I could have everything my way. I probably would have been okay, but I say that a little tongue in cheek. So when it came to the medicine and surgery, I was perfectly fine. So as I tell people, I mean, and this is the honest truth, if I was in the exam room with the patient, with the client, I was perfectly fine. Meaning I was happy. Outside the exam room, dealing with all the other interpersonal issues, I was pretty unhappy. So Westar was an opportunity. I had a good friend that worked there. He saw something in me that I had quit seeing in myself. And I took advantage of that, and it was a good move.
Thank
Does that
you.
help? Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome. So, Caitlin, if there's nothing else, I just realized there's a typo on my slide. That's embarrassing. So on my email address, again, if you've copied this down, it is WHETSTONE. So david.whetstone@verbacus.com. So
Not Whetstone.
no.
And yeah, and we also on our, I can put it in our, we have a group chat of all of the members, and I can put it in there as well, along with your number.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm happy to just, if anybody has any questions that I can help with, just have them reach out to me.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, if there aren't any other last minute questions, I'll just say thanks. Thank you for Dr. Whetstone for coming and talking. You can ask the officers. Especially at the beginning of the year, I was talking about all of the many parts of veterinary medicine that you could go into. Thanks for coming and talking to us.
I'm taking a picture. You're welcome. Yeah, thanks for having me. Super appreciate it. So good luck to you all. Let me know if I can help you.
Yep. I'm sure you'll get a lot of, not a lot, but some messages.
No, I understand. Yeah, sounds good. Well, I mean it sincerely. So, all right, you all have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay. I hope you guys liked Dr. Whetstone. Like I said kind of earlier, I've met him in real life and he is a really super nice person. I'm sure you guys could see. So we'll go ahead and get started with officer reports and slam through those real quick. And then I will release you guys all to go about your Thursday nights.
Hi. Okay. Sorry. I don't know how this works. If you guys are like on Zoom or if you watch the YouTube video, please make sure that you have your full name because I can't give you attendance if I can't tell what your name is. Thanks.
Okay, so all of the masks have finally come in, so we will be delivering those in the coming week. So just kind of like keep an eye out in the chat and we'll be letting y'all know more about that. As well as we are going to be selling old Pre-Vet Club t-shirts. So if you're interested in those, I'll send out more information about them in the group me, but they're $10 and you can Venmo Weston for them. You can message me or Trinity about them and it will count as a fundraising point.
And then I just wanted to mention, I saw that you guys were asking about t-shirts tonight. The reason it's taken so long is the t-shirt service that we use had to take a 2-week hiatus. They did not say if it was quarantine or anything, but they had to stop production for 2 weeks right in the middle / end of October. So that's why it's taken so long. Tristan is working on getting those handled. They are in production now. I think they started sometime last week again. So we're hoping to get those soon. And I know that Tristan also said in the group chat earlier something about changing or giving refunds. And yes, we will do those, either one of those. If this t-shirt service doesn't work, although I don't see why not. This is the t-shirt service we use every year. So hopefully those should be coming. if they aren't here by the week we go back to fully online, or I should say Thanksgiving break technically, we'll let you guys know, obviously, and we'll go from there. But that's what's happening right now with the t-shirts. We're not gonna not give you t-shirts, obviously, because that came with your dues. So we'll work something out to either ordering new ones or waiting on the previous ones we've already ordered. So that's where we're at with that. Oh, and the list of points, I will send those out tonight while I'm uploading the YouTube video of the Excel sheet that we've compiled. So that should be out today. Any other questions for tonight?
Don't forget the zoo trips also next Saturday.
Yes.
I'll send out the link probably the Friday before.
Okay. If none of the other officers need to say anything, and if none of you lovely participants have any questions, I shall release you for the night. I hope you all have a good weekend. Goodbye, guys.